Hello, namaskar, namaskara, namaskaram, namaskar. My name is Pooja Dwivedi. Welcome to my class, where I will make you understand the important events related to the 23rd edition of the Heads of State of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization. Because India is the president for the current Shanghai Cooperation Organization, that is why it is important for us to know, because many things could be asked in our GS Mains paper second and also in our preliminary examination. Before I go ahead with the class, I would like to inform you that whatever I teach in this platform, I provide the PDF regularly on my Telegram channel, which goes by the name of Pooja Dwivedi StudyIQ UPSC. If you have any questions regarding whatever I teach here, other than this, anything regarding UPSC, if you're not able to follow a proper plan, if you are going through some sort of psychological issues because of UPSC, you can talk to me on my Instagram. Okay? Moving ahead, this is the expectation that I have set for you. In today's class, we will divide this particular class in 3 different segments. First segment will deal with Shanghai Cooperation Organization, the structure of it, how does it work, and other than this, we will find out the highlights of the summit that has happened in a virtual format on 4th of July under India's presidency. Then we will find out how Iran has become the full-time member of Shanghai Cooperation Organization, in a sense, how it will impact the current dynamics in the Shanghai Cooperation Organization. How will it benefit China and Russia and India? Then we will talk about the Belt and Road Initiative, as China tried to revive this concept in the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, but India did not sign on the paragraph which was asking for support for the Belt and Road Initiative. So from that perspective, we will move forward. India presided over the 23rd edition of the Heads of State Summit and made many noteworthy things for us, because we have to now learn it from the perspective of the examination. Moving on, let's first of all talk about the Shanghai Cooperation Organization. It is an intergovernmental or international organization, and it is comprising of the members from Asia and Europe, mostly Asia and Europe. It ensures economic cooperation and security cooperation. And it came into existence as the Shanghai Five on 15th June 2001 in Shanghai, China, consisting of the countries of Kazakhstan, China, Kyrgyzstan, Russia, Tajikistan, Uzbekistan. If we leave out Uzbekistan, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It was the Shanghai Five. Shanghai Five initially wanted to be a mechanism through which China can have a proper dialogue with those countries which were formed after the fall of the Soviet Union. But after Uzbekistan joined it, it became the Shanghai Five. It was a political association which was based on 2 agreements. Agreement on confidence building in the military field in border areas, and agreement on the mutual reduction of armed forces in the border area. If it is asked in your preliminary examination about its initial level, you can, ensure that we have to know it started as a political organization to settle any sort of border disputes. And now it ensures that it becomes mutual inter-regional efforts to curb terrorism, which has, which deals with the major part of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization. The Charter of Shanghai Cooperation Organization was signed in 2002 at St. Petersburg, and it entered into force on 19 September 2003. It engaged itself in many activities to combat international drug trafficking as a source of financing global terrorism. It was announced in 2006. In September 2003, the HOS of SCO, they signed a 20-year program on multilateral trade and economic cooperation. This intended to make those countries in the Shanghai Cooperation Organization an area where free trade can occur, so that economies could emerge all together along with each other. Then, on 8 to 9 June in 2017, in the Astana Summit, India and Pakistan became full-time members of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization. Do you know, since 2017, now we are seeing the expansion of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization after Iran joined as a full-time member in the year 2023 under the presidency of India. Now, members include India, Kazakhstan, China, Kyrgyzstan, Russia, Pakistan, Tajikistan, Uzbekistan. I might add Iran. Although right now, if you go to the website of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, as of it, they have not included it. But yes, Iran is now a full-time member. Before this, it was an observer state along with Afghanistan, Belarus, Iran, and Mongolia. Okay, and there are also 6 other countries which are dialogue partners. Now, prelims can become really tricky if it doesn't ask you the members. It will ask you the observer states and the dialogue partners. So remember, Azerbaijan, Armenia, Cambodia, Nepal, Turkey, and Sri Lanka. These are the dialogue partners, and we have the 4 countries as observers. Okay, and now of course Iran, not 4 countries anymore, 3 countries as observers. Iran is now a full-time member. Now the heads of state council, this particular summit that happened on 4th of July, this was the heads of state council, and this is the highest governing body of the entire structure of SCO, and governing body as in decision making, we can say. Any important decision that has to be made with respect to anything, the charter or anything, it is taken in the heads of state council meeting, which happened on 4th of July. And the heads of government council is another one. Heads of state council is different, heads of government council is different. They also deal with the coordination things. Other than this, we have different levels so that coordination can occur in these departments of different countries. Like we have the speakers of parliament level meeting under the mechanism of SCO, secretaries of security council, foreign ministers, ministers of defense, and emergency relief, etc. among others. Others are also there. The organization has 2 permanent bodies. One is in Beijing, which is the secretariat, and another one is regional anti-terrorist structure. This is in Tashkent. You can be asked about RATS, where is it located? So remember, it's located in Tashkent. The current summit was attended by, of course, all the members of the SCO plus Iran, Belarus, Mongolia. They have been invited as observer states, and when they were invited as observer states, Iran was welcomed by every other member in the Shanghai Cooperation Organization. Belarus is set to become the next permanent member in the year 2024. It applied for membership in 2022 only. Following SCO customs, Turkmenistan had also received the invitation to be the guest of the chair. Okay, so remember, Turkmenistan was the guest of the chair. Sometimes prelims asks us these type of questions as well. You must think only the head president is important and members are important. No, other people are also very important. Okay, other than them, United Nations, the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, the Commonwealth of Independent States, Collective Security Treaty Organization, Eurasian Economic Union, Conference on Interaction and Confidence Building Measure in Asia. These all were also invited so that we can reach coordination at a greater level. Now, the theme can also be asked. Remember the theme? Theme is towards a secure SCO. And this secure, this was a term which was coined by our Prime Minister in the year 2018. It's an acronym for security, S for security, then E, economic and trade. Connectivity, from C we have connectivity. U, unity. Then respect for sovereignty and territorial integrity. And finally we have environment. Moving on. Now, India established new pillars of cooperation within the SCO. There were certain pillars which were important for India. Prelims can ask us very well about the pillars. So remember that we have to learn the pillars as well. Startups and innovation is one of the pillars. Then traditional medicine, digital inclusion, youth empowerment, shared Buddhist heritage. India worked a lot when it comes to fostering people-to-people ties because this is one of our important diplomatic channels. India also asked the countries to remember that we are bound by one shared civilization and history, and Buddhism is one of that. So, startup and innovation, traditional medicine, digital inclusion, youth empowerment, shared Buddhist heritage. This is our pillars where India emphasized a lot. Varanasi has played a big role here. It hosted so many summits. It was of cultural importance for India during the SCO. India held 134 meetings and events, including 14 ministerial level events during the entire presidency. Belarus, as I told you, will become the full-time member of the SCO. And the country will reportedly become full-time member in 2024. So remember that. On cybersecurity, there was a lot of emphasis. Why? Because India Russia, China, and many other countries. These are now becoming digitally empowered. We are a young country like other countries also. They are becoming more digitally inclined. So when data is the oil, it becomes really important to protect it. Any oil is very important for any economy, and data is the new oil. So that is why India wants to ensure that it remains safe. So an institutionalization of some sort of cyber security should be there, so that every country can secure their data and it does not become a vulnerable spot when any country is at war with each other. So this is a new front of war. We have the air, ground, and the navy, the water territory in which war occurs. Now we have a cyber arena as well. So in 2006, ad hoc working group on ICT was already created. At that time, the SCO also established working group of experts on international information security. Now, India has reiterated its role in the artificial intelligence sector by saying that Bhashini should be much more used by the different countries. As we know that the working language of SCO is Russian and Chinese. India is touting for its own, way in order to show that it is culturally also very powerful, which it is. As we all remember, in 1835, Thomas Babington Macaulay, what did he write? He wrote, "A single shelf of a good European library is worth the whole native literature in India." And this is being challenged by Bhashini. Bhashini was launched in 2022. It is a local language translation mission. Okay, so this platform, it inculcates artificial intelligence along with natural language processing. These resources are available in the public, and it is used by Indian MSMEs and many other trade entities, so that they can cater to the masses. They can publish their ads in the local language so that they can have more accessibility. So basically, when Bhashani will be used by the SCO members, language barriers would be reduced. Then, what other important persons said in this particular summit is also important. Kazakhstan is set to become the next president for the SCO. So it proposed joint energy strategy, because right now we are seeing that energy is becoming threatened. The world is at war with each other. So we should ensure that a strategic energy pool should be created between these countries, so that the economy doesn't get bogged down by any sort of volatility. Chinese President Xi Jinping called for efforts on safeguarding regional peace, and specifically terrorism, as India also did. It tried to revive the Belt and Road Initiative as a concept, but India thwarted it. Pakistan Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif highlighted the importance of religious minorities, given that a lot of attacks have happened on Sikhs in his own country. Now, another focus of the SCO was the current situation in Afghanistan. President Putin said that Russia will stand up against Western sanctions and provocations as well. Other than this, we have to understand one more point here. P2I batches are getting launched from 10th of July. These will not only have classes, but study material, mains test series, prelims test series, a mains residential program for you all. That means if you're going to get enrolled in this batch, qualify prelims 2024, you will be called to the StudyIQ campus, so that you can prepare there distraction free. We will enrich you for mains as well. This will start from morning onwards, 8 a.m., 10th July, remember. And if you are a Hindi batch student, you can take admission in Hindi. For English ones, we have English. And for the English ones, we have English. And the price is just rupees 29,999. If you use the code PDLive, do it as quick as possible by visiting the website. Now, the Indian government had coined the New Delhi Declaration. New Delhi Declaration has been adopted, in which fight against terrorism is the major focal point. Prime Minister Modi talked about ensuring that no country's soil should be used to launch terror attacks on another country, against another country. He did not name any country outrightly, but of course we all know he was talking about Pakistan. Pakistan said that it shouldn't be used as some other sort of diplomacy, and terrorism is a hydra-headed monster. It has many heads: communalism, extremism, and then terrorism. Although he is right, but it would be more beneficial if he did something about it. So de-radicalization is also one of the part. De-radicalization means what? When I try to brainwash one person, telling them certain improper things so that they can cause harm to other person without actually knowing the facts, that is radicalization. De-radicalization means not letting that happen, or if that has happened, we should build certain mechanisms to ensure that it does not happen anymore. Sustainable lifestyle to tackle climate change, the life which was adopted at the Glasgow Summit. So that lifestyle of an individual can change. As a person, I should change my lifestyle so that my carbon footprint gets reduced. Production of millet was another point. India is celebrating International Year of Millets. So it is important that we start growing these drought resistant crops so that we do not suffer anymore. Moreover, digital transformation is also important. So this was all the part of Delhi Declaration, New Delhi Declaration. Russia supported this, while Pakistan said that this should, warned against the use of terrorism as a bat for diplomatic point swearing. Okay, so this is rich coming from him. And terrorism, he said it's a hydra-headed monster. It should be fought despite where it is originating. That means it's not only Pakistan, other countries are also there. Now, Iran as a full-time member. Iran signed a nuclear deal with Western powers, which was led by the USA. P5 plus 1. Permanent 5, that means UNSC's P5 plus 1. Plus 1 was the European Union. And this nuclear deal was the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, so that Iran cannot use nuclear energy for its military purposes. It was all signed in 2016. After that, President Putin said that it is a good step in the right direction. Now, Iran can become a part of the SCO. Iran applied for the membership as far back as like 15 years ago. But in 2018, Donald Trump unilaterally withdrew from the JCPOA, so it became nullified. And now there is no chance in this current or the upcoming years that it could be re-established, because it's a long process. Now, after that, what happened? That global scenario started changing. From Afghanistan, we saw the chaotic exit of USA. After that, China is drawing more closer to its iron brother Pakistan. Iran is also the traditional ally of Russia. Russia wants to ensure that it has more allies in the Shanghai Cooperation Organization. With China, it already has a no limit friendship. China and Pakistan also had the same, you can say, iron brotherhood. Other than this, we are also seeing that China ensured that Iran signed a diplomatic relationship agreement with Saudi Arabia. China brokered it. So China, of course, is playing a major role here. Other than this, a border market was opened between Pakistan and Iran, although these two countries were not even having that sort of connection between them, that a border market could have been opened. So China is making a full use of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization platform in order to show that it is very influential in Asia, although Russia may not be very happy with it. Moving on. Now in 2021, China and Iran signed a 25-year deal for cooperation in areas including oil. Since then, we are seeing that private companies from China is the largest importer of crude. Remember that. Private companies are purchasing more and more oil from Iran. Other than this, Belarus is Russia's close regional ally. We have already seen that in Belarus, Russia is moving its strategic nuclear weapons. So we are seeing that there is some kind of blocks that is being developed in Shanghai Cooperation Organization. This is not a very rosy picture for India. Why do I say this? Because now India in this particular situation has to walk a tightrope. But India is well versed with walking the tightrope. India is following its own autonomous policy. Even after being pressurized by the USA to condemn Russia, India never did it. Because we follow our own autonomous policy. We are a sovereign country. We do not follow others' orders. Whatever works best for us, we do that. So India is doing that. Now, how will it work for India? See, International North-South Transport Corridor. The biggest takeaway from here we can understand that India wants more market access, and Iran's accession in this SCO will help India to get more market access. Also, we know that the Chabahar port, from here we can bypass Pakistan if we have to provide any sort of assistance to Afghanistan and Central Asia. So it is important that we, get more chances through these kind of platforms like the Shanghai Cooperation Organization to ensure our own interests are there. But the Belt and Road Initiative, this was proposed in the year 2013, and it is a flagship scheme of the current premier of the Communist Party of China. It wants to reinstate the trade routes that was followed by the imperial Chinese dynasty. The trade route, that means the belt and the road. Earlier it was used as one belt, one road initiative. So these were like one belt, one road. But now it has become belt and road initiative. That means we have to inculcate both the belt and the route. And this is an ambitious program of developing maritime routes, ports, infrastructure such as roads, railways. So a vast network which covers not one, not two, but three continents. The continents of course, Asia, Europe, and Africa. Why is China doing it? The first reason, of course, to counter the US. Right now, most of the trade of China goes through the Malacca, Strait of Malacca. This China calls the Malacca dilemma. Singapore is a close ally of the USA. Right now, the world is getting more volatile, so China wants to ensure that its trade routes are secured. Other than this, during the crisis of 2008, the economic crisis, what happened that China was the first time responded to many countries in this region. So China wants to show these countries that please, my economy is very important for your economy because I had loaned you money back then when you didn't have it because of the crisis. So let's intermingle our economy so that you can depend on me whenever the crisis occurs. And of course, now China wants to show its influence. It has a lot of power through money. So flexing its muscles, once it has become an economic superpower, an economic power, it was well thought out process. But the way it is being done, no, not at all. Moving on. See, the belt is the ancient overland trading routes which connected Europe and Asia to be built largely with Chinese expertise. Basically, this was the imperial belt. So a belt as in this maritime silk route, which consisted of so many countries coming into the picture. Then there is road. This will follow the old Marco Polo route. What route? Marco Polo route. This is the Marco Polo route that I'm talking about from these many countries. So China is trying to build road projects, railway projects, so that it can take advantage of this. And then we have the Silk Route, maritime Silk Route. How is it going? The Silk Road Economic Belt is the red one, and the 21st century maritime Silk Route will go like this. Okay, so ensuring that these two are connected with each other, how far reaching China's Belt and Road Initiative goes. But the biggest problem for India is the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, which is going through the Gilgit-Baltistan region. India is a sovereign country. This is our land. How could you not consult India when you pass through this territory? This is our land. This is not China-Pakistan Economic Corridor at all for India. In Asia, China has a good amount of land border with 15 countries. So what it is practicing is periphery diplomacy. With many countries, it is sharing a border, and it is telling other countries because we share a border, we must, ensure that our trade routes are connected. This is periphery diplomacy. Russia isn't happy because it does not want to let go of its own influence it has in Central Asia, because many of the countries in Central Asia, they were developed because of the downfall of the Soviet Union. Now, in Malaysia, this project went through certain corruption charges. Right now, it is not clear if Malaysia is pulling out or not, or it is still apart. Right now, it seems like it is still apart. In Africa, China has built many important road and railway projects, specifically Nigeria, Uganda, Egypt, Ethiopia, and many other countries. And Africa is a cash-strapped continent. That is why it is trying to buy them. China is trying to buy them, and this is not a very healthy scenario. As you can see, these are the black ones are where China is making its inroads. Other than this, we see that Kenyan government's participation in the initiative made a high-speed railway running between Mombasa and Nairobi possible. Here is Mombasa and here is Nairobi. So we see that China is taking a big advantage through the Belt and Road Initiative. In Europe, the most prestigious achievement for it is China Railway Express route, which slashed the time of trade between China and Europe by 15 days, good 15 days. Moving on. See, the biggest issue here is the debt trap. What is debt trap? This is a country X, China, and another country Y, Sri Lanka. I tell Sri Lanka as China that now I am providing you 100 rupees. You develop a port over here, and whatever money you earn from developing that port, you give that money as interest to me. Sri Lanka said, very well. Thank you so much, China. I will do it. Sri Lanka starts building the port with the help of loan money, and that loan was very opaque. We do not even know how much loan was given. So Sri Lanka does that. It builds the port. But now what happens? Revenue is not coming through that port. If we do not have the revenue, how we will pay back the loan and the interest to China? China said, oh, you're not now able to pay back the loan. Do one thing, give this port to me on a 99-year lease. We will maintain a permanent presence over there. Now we will of course get our navies and everything over there. You cannot say anything because I gave you money and now you're not able to give it back to me. This is debt trap. And many countries have flagged this, that this is not a good thing. Why? Because exorbitant amount of loans are given, but when those loans cannot be given back, China will of course take over those places. It is a very big problem for the Hambantota port. For India, it is a very big problem because of course now India has China in its Indian Ocean neighborhood. So this is what debt trap is. It is doing it to many countries. It knows very well what it is doing. Now, to counter this, democratic countries were already not in favor of this. We have the Build Back Better World Initiative, B3W, which is a US-led initiative. It was launched in 2021 to have a COVID-19 relief, future economic and infrastructure package proposed by the G7 countries for developing and lower income countries. Specifically after the COVID-19, we see that many countries became cash strapped. And when they're vulnerable, then China swoops in, gives them money and try to take hold of their ports and infrastructure. It will mobilize private sector capital in 4 areas: climate, health and health security, digital technology, gender equity and equality. So this is how we are countering it, Belt and Road Initiative, with the help of different democracies. So I hope you understood this class well. If you want the PDF, please join my Telegram channel, Pooja Dwivedi, StudyIQ UPSC. If you have any question, you can talk to me on my Instagram. Thank you.